The scent of the forest was refreshing after spending days on the ground, smelling rotten flesh and other unpleasant smells. In the distance, an owl softly hooted, upset that it was disturbing its nightly hunt. I hooted back, "Sorry, friend, I still need my help. I'm just passing through. Be gone and take the clothed one with you." The owl hooted back and shifted angrily upon its beak. I didn't respond, honing in one of the clouds. The owl mentioned yes on cloud, heavy with sorrow and regret, tinged with anger and a little self-loathing. I sighed heavenly, wondering what my cloud felt like all those years ago. I whisper, and the edge of the conscience drew my attention. Thunder, anger, hatred. It was my sword, Valiant. The fight must have been worse than I thought, for it sounded distant. I must meditate later, restrained, outbound, but first I must attend to my duty. The owl may have been upset and my trespassing, but I've spent my entire life stalking through the forest such as these, and I glide through it nearly silent, barely disturbing the trees as I pass them. Ah, they are our budding hero, the one with an expression of the world upon their shoulders. They were sitting on a rock overlooking a small creek, arms wrapped around the knees and they are pulled up in their chests. Ah, they are our budding hero, the one with the expressions of the world. And what pleasant creek, maybe I should build a home nearby and settle down. I found a spot near rain and eased myself down and across the lagging sit. Rain isn't acknowledging me. That's okay. I fall into contemplating silence, letting them take the next move. There's no bringing Garlatic back. Rain struggles not to stop. My heart broken. Hearts break 1,000 times. I will break 1,000 times more. Valiant whispers in our bond. It sounded closer already, good. No, there's not. Death is the ultimate challenge that people far stronger than I have failed to conquer. I embrace myself for the inevitable response. But there are undead and inches of the zombies. Do those not overcome death? No, no, they're not. The undead are soulless bodies returning to life through dark magic. They seem like they were returning from the dead, but are not the same as when we're living, whatever in eating them is able to assess many of the memories of host behavior in similar fashion to what they were when living, but they are not the original person. I paused. It's different subject to grasp. I don't understand. I think kind of do, but I don't fully grasp what you're saying. Rain rest their chin on their knees. Tears slowly fall from their faces. And due time you will leeches and casters that use hilarious magic to twist themselves into abandonments. All to live forever, they never truly die. And came back. I see rain now to understanding. And finally, zombies are just mindless husks. Their bodies train them in to serve the Dark Master. They have no intelligence and only operate on instincts. Animals have more cognizance than a zombie. Silence when again. Lines only flowing quick, making any sounds. Zombies no fun, and that no fun. Legions tasted bitter. Haven't tasted bitter in a long time. Let's find a leash. Must have better Valdian's command. Made me chuckle out loud, despite the sober mood. Rain doesn't move, but speaks up. Valdian, tell you something funny. Ah, yes. Just that we haven't fought a lynch in ages. And it's wanting to taste once again. I look over her flitting across raining faces, but settling on a forcing grin. Garlane was my friend. I can still hear his laughter even after rain began. Sober once again. Reach over and rub their shoulders. It's okay, Rain. Don't hold back. Once account on me, let it out. You'll feel better, trust me. They took my word to hear and unleashed all the pain they were feeling into deep sobs, tears flowing like the creek we sat beside. I continued to rub the shoulders through it, giving them both time and a little human connection. After a while, the tears abandoned, the crying eased, and the rain drew a deep breath. Winter let it out. Trees across from all the swamp came the rustle of the wind. Did you ever lose anybody? Rain asked. I was prepared for this. Yes, many. Face flashing through my mind, friends, comrades, a few loves. The faces frozen on my one true love. And longing came across her bonds for Vildian. My love was only other person. Vildian ever connected with her loss hurt us both deeply. What was it like to lose the first one? Rain asked. Failure. The word jumped from my mouth before I could stop it. Thinking with anger I haven't felt in ages. Rain cringed. What happened? The distance passed. Valiant rang from the repeat bows. Rained abandoned thing. We were barely able to do it. The rain fierce fought against the Dark King's captain, flashing out energy from his ancient shield, creating an almost stronger effect. Queen was keeping foot soldiers at bay and piercing Lauber across as fast as his acquire could manifest in them. They had battle across the vast castle to kill the king, who had succumbed to dark magic. Once been devout, the king turned greedy, going to war with neighboring kingdoms using the dark magic that infected him. The Dark King quickly spread his evil rule across much of the land, turning its people into slaves. The thieves and the captain were last line defense before the party reached the Dark King, heavily eliminating all the other kings. Twisted people, the party thought they were ready, but the wizard of the captain were far more powerful than they thought. Though it was seated in their minds and their thoughts fearlessly, just to survive, much less win. Despite Vildian assistance, Angel was tiring and the physical tow. Their attack were relentless, never giving Angel time to rest, never giving an opening. Andrew was momentarily distracted by Queen screaming out in pain, and the wizard took advantage of that distraction, deftly disarming Andrew and landing a heavy boot on his chest that sent him reeling. Andrew's vision blurred from the lack of oxygen, and he got when he tried to breathe. Andrew swore his strength was probably fractured. How was he supposed to find the Dark King in this condition? The Vice stalking towards Andrew, victory writing on his face. No! Dondron yelled, placed himself between the Vice and Andrew. Now Dondron was facing both Captain and the Vice alone, but Queen and Percy kept messing busy. Doddering having then impossible happen, the Vice attacked high forces, Doddering to block high. Captain took advantage of the ducking low and pellet, and might warrior with a black sword. Time seeming to stop, Andrew and the laser hitting him like a brick. Darling, he screamed importantly as the captain withdrew his sword and drove it in again. He thought he felt his knees, face frozen in the shock. His shield clattered to the floor, leaving him defenseless. Doddering looked back and Andrew smiled and whispered, "Win." The captain withdrew his sword once more, and with a mighty swing clove the warrior head from his skull body. Andrew, piercing yell, getting his attention long enough to see an arrow flying in the region of the wall that struck William, sending his sword spinning towards Andrew, who picked it up and slid by a bloodlust erupted in Andrew, renewing the strength to reforceful his soul. A deadly calm came with the bloodlust, giving Andrew a clear mind, what he never before experienced. He stood, veiled in green, tiny in his left hand. That was a mistake, he said, laughed a series of attacks that soon found the wizard captain in pieces. Present day. I don't remember the fight with the Dark King after that. The bloodlust was only fueled further by the death. To this day, Queen and Percy won't speak of the battle. I drew a deep breath, memorizing, racing through my head. The next thing I remember, it was when a farmhouse far from the kosher castle. Queen and Percy would even look me in the eyes when I remembered Doddering, his death, his sacrifice. Why did he have to die? Why wasn't I strong enough? Why could I have called the bloodlust sooner? My throat tightly and had to swallow out few times to continue. The next thing I remember is when the farmhouse far from the cursed castle. Queen and Pierce won't even look at me in the eyes. Another day goes by that I don't think back in the castle. Dorian taught me how to wield a valiant, how to fight. He was my mentor, and in many ways a father to me. I turned to Rain, and our eyes locked. I'm sorry you have to bear this burden, young one. But the path of the hero is a bloody one. Galleon is to you, the Dorian was to me. You'll never get over this death. Rain swallowed hard. How do you keep going on? How do? Just how pain, fear, sorrow, all were evident in their voices. Rain, my young one, you warn them, then you honor their sacrifice by continuing to live. And the most of all, the faces of the fallen comrades flash through my mind again. You never forget them. It's sad to see the eyes dripping from the tears of his eyes, slowly crying, the sorrow in his eyes. And others are starting to feel even bad to even ask. But they gave a big hug, and everything was slowly going back to normal. Rain was flooding from above the trees. The wind going here and there. It's something different, you know? With a bright smile, everyone grinned about the light above their head. The moon crying out, the fears and shock in their eyes. They cannot ever imagine this pain ever going away. But the present day, they stood and continued their journey together to the dungeon, and from there on, they're just going and going, slowly going and going. I cannot even imagine how they even think, but that's just